Hello, guys. Hello, 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 hello. Good evening, and welcome to our live class for today. Let me know if you can hear me, please. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know. So I'm just going to fix my. I hope this works today because yesterday people were complaining that the sound was not very clear. So good evening. So I need somebody to please confirm on the comments. Please let me know. Is the sound of my microphone okay? Please let me know if the sound of the microphone is okay so that we can proceed. Okay. So somebody to please confirm. So drop your comments. Let me know on the comment section. Can you hear me? Is the sound of okay? Thank you so much. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Millicent, Gifty, thank you. Obiali, thank you. All right, guys. So in today's live stream, yeah, 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 yeah. I just saw a message from my phone from one of my clients. I'm not even on it. So let me just leave that one first. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to open what we are going to be doing today. Yes. So you guys can see, you see this beautiful keyhole bustier. That's what we are going to learn how to draft today. So you can see it is a beautiful. So that's what we will learn how to do today. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to adjust my camera so that we can go straight into the tutorial for today. So please let me know. Good evening. How are you? I'm good. I'm fine, Ellen. Thank you so much for asking. I appreciate that. Yes. So I am trying to set to make sure that my table is okay. So this is my piece, okay. I hope you can see my table. So now we're going to start drafting already. So the first thing I am to do, so this is my pattern paper. Thank you. Good evening, Yomi. Good evening. So we're going to use this point. So when we want to draft a bustier like this, let's start with the back. So you can see the back is normal. So start. So this is my startup line. So for those of you that have been following, let me know where you're watching me from. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I want to mark my bust point line. So for today's tutorial, I'll use 10 inches for my bust line, and then I'll use 13 inches and then 17.5 for my half cut, okay, which is the half cut of the blouse. So the next thing, I'm going to connect this line like this. So this is bust point line, which is 11 from the shoulder, and then the under bust line is 13, and then we have 17 inches, 17.5 inches for the waist, which is the half cut, okay. So the next we're going to do now, we're going to start up. So these are all the lines: shoulder line, point line, under bust, and then our waist, okay. So the next thing you are going to do from this point, we are going to mark our shoulder measurement. Okay, you're watching from Anambra. Thank you so much. So we're going to mark our shoulder measurement, which is 13. 13 divided by 2, have 6.5. We have 6.5, and then I'm going to add inch to it for allowance. So from this point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. So when I come down by 1 inch, so this is for our shoulder slope, and then you just connect that to the shoulder line. So from this point, I'm going to mark my armhole line. So the armhole, your armhole, you divide your bust measurement into 4, and sorry, into 6, and then add 1.5 inches. Okay, thank you. You're watching from Ugeli. Wow, that's nice. Ugeli, I've been there. So you mark for my armhole. So when you divide your bust measurement into 6, you are going to add 1.5. So that will give you your bust, your armhole line. So for this, I'm going to use 7 inches. Okay. So after that, I'm going to mark it like this, and then I'll connect it like this. So I want to create my armhole curve. So because this is the back armhole, I'm just going to give it a beautiful curve like this. And then the next thing we are going to do, we are going to mark our dart. So the dart is our nipple to nipple measurement. So for this, I'll use 4.5 inches. So the full nipple to nipple, that's one nipple to another, 9 inches. So you divide that into two, and then I'm going to have 4.5 all across my lines like this. So when I have it, I'll just mark the lines like this. I'll just connect it like this, and then I'll create my dart. So from this point, I'll come down by 1 inch, and from this point, I'll go up by 1 inch. So when I do that, my dart that I want to is 1 inch. So I'll divide that 1 inch into two, and then take half of an inch. So the next thing, I'm going to connect my dart this way. So if you have following me for my live streams, like I said, we are going to be learning how to be drafted a lot in our what do you call it, in our live classes. So if you know you want to, if you're interested in learning how to draft, you can be tuning in. For those people that are looking for freehand, no more freehand for our live classes, except if I make an exception maybe later. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to mark our bust measurement. So the bust measurement that I'm using is 36. So when I do 36 into 4, I'm going to have 9 inches. I'll mark it here, and then I'll add 2 inches for my allowance. So the same thing I have on that line, I'll just bring it here, my bust point line. And then my under bust line is, my under bust line is 30, which is 7.5. And then this is my 1 inch. I'll bring that back into it, and then I'll mark my stitching allowance. Okay, so when I mark, I'm just going to mark this like this. And then my waist measurement, the waist measurement that I'm going to be using is 32. So when I divide 32 into 4, I have 8 inches, and then I'll add my stitching allowance. Okay, so when I do that, I'm just going to connect all of my lines like this, and then I am done. Okay, so the next thing I want to do now, I want to add our neckline. So because if you take a look at this, I think the thumbnail is here. Okay, yes, see, you can see the back of the blouse. The back is a normal back, it does not have any yoke. Okay, so we're going to just add the normal regular round neckline. For that, we're going to use 3 inches width for that regular neckline. So we use 3 inches width, we'll use 3 inches width for that neckline this way. And then I am going to use 1 inch, because we want to try and see if we can, we'll cut out a collar from this line. So that is why I'm using 1 inch. So I'll connect it like this. So I'll show you guys how to do that when we are done. So I'll connect this like this, and then I am done. So we're going to cut this out now. So if you have questions, please, you can drop your questions on the comment section. Okay, so once I raise my head, I will answer all of your questions. If you want to register for my online classes, you can send me a message on WhatsApp. Okay, so for this neckline, I'm not out yet, because I'm going to use it when we are done later. So I'm just going to leave it this way, and then we have our back pattern. So the next thing now, let's draft our front pattern, which is like the main emphasis for today's tutorial. So I'll fold my pattern. So because it is a keyhole, so I'm not using one side of paper today. I want to use the two to be able to see how it looks. If you have any adjustments, you'll be able to adjust it. Okay, so that's the essence of pattern drafting. So when you draft patterns, you'll be able to make any adjustment, corrections before you transfer to your fabric. So we'll start with our line again. We'll mark our line here. So this line is serving as our start up line. Okay, so when we mark that line, the next thing we want to mark is our bust point. So our bust point is 10 inches, just like we did before. And then our under bust is 13, and then our waist is 17.5 inches. So all of these lines, I'm going to connect them with a straight ruler like this. So I'm connecting them with a straight ruler like this. I'll connect them like this. So after connecting, now we want to take out our shoulder measurement. So like I said, our shoulder is 13. So when we divide 13 into 4, we have, sorry, I said 4. We divide 13 into 2, we have 6.5, and then we'll add 1 inch to it. So we'll have 7.5. So from that 7.5, you're going down by 1 inch. So for those of you that don't know, when you're drafting a pattern, the essence is because our shoulder is not straight. So that is why. So it is called a shoulder. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do from this point, we are going to mark our arm. So just like I explained, your armhole, you divide your bust measurement into 6 and then add 1.5, or you just take your tape around your armpit. You can measure your tape around your armpit like that. That's this your armpit, and you get your measurement. You now divide it by 2. So for this, I have 7 inches. So I'll just mark 7 inches. So from that top point, I'll rule 7-inch line. And then when I rule the 7 inches line, I'm just going to take it to this end like this. Okay? So that line will serve as my chest line. So I'll just mark it like this. So the next thing now, so let's label the line. We have our chest line, we have our point line, we have our under bust line, and then we have our waistline. So guys, you can drop a question for me. Please like the video. I can see just 6 likes. So you guys should please like the video. I would appreciate that, okay? So the next thing I am going to mark now, from this point, I'm going to check half of this armhole line. I'll just mark it in. I'll come in with like 1/4 of an inch, okay? So once I come in with 1/4 of an inch, I'm just going to create a slant like this, and then I will use my pattern curve to give it a nice finish this way, so you can see. So after marking that, the next thing we're going to do now, we want to mark our bust here. So most times what I normally do, customers, when they send me styles like this, you will check what kind of bustier pattern did they use. It is a straight bustier pattern. So just for those of you that tuned in yesterday to our live stream, just like what we did there, is that kind of bustier pattern. So the next thing we're going to do now for this pattern, we're going to mark this point like this. We want to use our bust span of 4.5 inches. So the bust span is actually 9. So we'll divide it into 2, and then we're going to mark it this way. Okay, so when we mark it this way, I am going to use this straight ruler like this, and then I'll mark it like this. Okay, so when I mark it this way, the next thing we want to do now, we want to create out our curve. Okay, so in order for us to create out our curve, I'll come to this part of my curve of my under bust and mark my dart. So for the darts, because of the part to do a neck dart or a shoulder dart, because that means that I will cut my yoke. You understand? If you notice a keyhole, you are not cutting your yoke. So the best dart is for us to do a straight princess dart, that will just come like this and then connect it, hit it to this point. Okay, so for this, what I'll do, I'll take out 2 inches dart, and that 2 inches is going to be taken from one side. Okay, so from that part like that, I'm just going to hit it to my bust point line like this. I'm just trying to get a perfect curve, that's why. So I'll hit it to this point like that, and then when I hit it to this point, from this point, I'm just going to come up by like 1 inch, okay, because I want to blend it in. So this is the middle part of my armhole, remember that point. So from this point, I'm just going to create a curve. So this curve, while I'm creating it, I just want to see that it looks good. Okay, so when I do that, this part, I'm going to extend this by 1 inch, because if I cut it, it's going to get truncated. So that is why. So this princess that's why I said it is a straight one. I'm not going to take out it from the arm, from this armpit area, that's this armhole side. I will not take out anything. So this, I'm just going to use my pattern curve this way, and then I would connect it. I'll connect it like this. Okay, so you can see I've connected. So I've connected new armhole that I made. So from this point now, I want to try and blend this part. I want it blended so that the curve will be. At this point, it's looking, it has, I entered into this line. So when I'm cutting, I'm not going to cut that out. So I'll show you guys how to cut it. For the down part, I don't want to use 2 inches for the down part of my dart. So I'm just going to reduce it with like 1.5, which is okay. And then I am going to use my pattern curve this way. I'll connect it like this, okay? After connecting it like this, the next thing we're going to do now, let's take out our full body measurement first before we open up our keyhole. Okay, so in taking out our full body measurement, we're making 36 for our bust measurement. So 36, therefore we have 9. I'll place it here, and then I'll add like 2 inches for my allowance. And then what I have on that chest line, I'll bring it to my bust point line that way. And then for the under bust, we're using 7.5. You mark your 7.5, and remember these 2 inches that we're using for the dart. From that top point, you add that 2 inches, and then you add your stitching allowance. Okay, so for the waist, we are using 32 inches, which is 8 inches. Remember this down part, we used 1 inch, so please note that. So that sorry, we use 1.5 inch. So that 1.5 inch, bring that back into your pattern, and then mark your stitching allowance. Okay, so once we are done with that, I am going to connect all of these lines like this, and then I'll connect them this way. Okay, so that's for our front part. So the next thing now we want to do, now we want to create out our keyhole. Okay, so in order for us to create our keyhole, there are some things that we would use. So the next thing I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to mark out my neckline. So the neck width I'll use 3 inches neck width, and then I'll come down with like 1 inch. Okay, so why am I doing this 1 inch? Like I said, to create out that curve there that looks like a small collar. So I'm going to cut it from here. So I'll mark it this way. So after marking it this way, now that's for my neckline. So next thing I want to do now, I want to create my keyhole. So I'm creating my keyhole. So this bust part, this bust part, I'm going to determine how deep do I want it to be, you understand? So this part now, another thing that I can do, I can decide this my bust area, I can decide to move it up a little. Okay, I can decide to move it up a little bit. I can move it a little bit. So in moving up a little bit, here is what I'm going to do. I can come up by 2 inches like this, or 1 inch like this. So because I want my bust here, I want it to be covered. So I can come up by 1 inch, and then I would mark this. I'll mark this like this. So when I mark this like this, the next thing I want to create at this point is my bust, is my curve. So in order for me to create my curve, what I'm going to do from this neckline point, I'm going to determine how wide do I want that top part to be. You understand? That top, that chest area. You can see this chest area. How wide do I want it to be? Okay. So that part I'm going to like, okay, let's use like 3 inches. So I'll mark the 3 inches. So once I come here like this for the 3 inches, the next thing I will do, I'm going to create a curve like this. Can you see? So that curve, when I create that curve, I'll blend it into my armhole like this. So I'll blend the curve into my armhole region like this. You understand? So I'll just blend this like this into my armhole section. So I'll use this pattern curve because I want it nice. I will just take this like this, and then I will blend this. So after blending, this is what I have. So the next thing now, we are going to cut this out. So the first thing we want to cut out, we'll cut out our yoke first. Okay, so let's cut the side of our blouse, and then cut out the yoke. So you can see, so you are going to cut the yoke from this. So from this armhole part, you can decide to come down more, You understand? So you can decide to come down more, and then so I'll mark that. And then this part now, I am cutting out this part. Okay, so I'll cut this part out. So that's the keyhole a section, and then I'll cut out my bustier like this. So when I cut out my bustier, so for this mid part, if I want to add this V that is here, it is a simple process. So all I'm going to do is I'll take my tape. I'll take my tape from this point and then mark how many, mark like half of an inch. Don't use 1 inch, okay? 1 inch might be too wide. It will make it 2 inches, so you can mark an inch. So when you mark half of an inch, you are going to determine how deep you want it. So this is the bust point line. So we can just blend this into the bust point line like this. Okay. So when you blend that in, and then you are going to cut this off like this. Okay. So when you cut it, this is what we are going to have. So I'm going to open up my patterns now. So let's take a look at what we did to see how it looks. So can you see? So this part I'm going to blend this part. So I'll blend that part that way, and then I'm going to open this up. Guys, can you see how beautiful this looks? Can you see? Yes, you can see how beautiful this looks. So you can see our keyhole. You see our keyhole blouse. It looks so really beautiful. Let me just see if I can take a. Okay, someone needs to turn the camera on for that button for highlight. Okay, see it. Okay. So guys, so can you see how beautiful this looks? So that's it. So you can see the front of our keyhole. It looks so good. So guys, this is the back of our pattern for those of you that just joined us, and then that is the front. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I'm going to be stopping our tutorial here for tonight. Yes, I'll stop our tutorial here for tonight. And I want to say thank you to all of you that tuned in, that joined our tutorial for tonight. Thank you so much. People should like this video. The likes are not much. Okay. Rita, you're watching from Ughelli. Millicent, you're watching from Ghana. Michael Bo. So thank you so much, guys, for all of you that tuned in. I'll see you guys by God's grace on Thursday. But on Thursday, I'll come up a little bit late, not 7, maybe around 8. Okay, so I'll see you guys in my next video on Thursday. Bye bye. God bless you all.